Make room on your bookshelf, Sarasota. Author David Hagberg joins us now to tell us about his new book, Face Off, which is out next month. This is really exciting to have you here. Now, this isn't your first book, and I would use cliches like it's not your first rodeo, but over 22 books?
In that series with Kirk McGarvey, he's the super guy, ex-CIA, but I've actually done 85, 84, something like that.
Oh my God,
the first book came out in 75, which makes me officially old.
No.
No.
Well, we won't tell anybody, that's fine. It's just between you and I. So your new book, Face Off. In our political climate that we have as it is, such, your superhero, Kirk, has something to do with a very espionage kind of scenario that's going on between our government and Russia?
There's a plot, and there's a bunch of them going on in reality, but there's a plot in my book in pretty high circles, and I can't say who's involved because then the giveaway would be a spoiler.
Okay.
But the idea is to bring Trump down, and they're using, in my book, his name is T. Carson Weaver, who at one point said, by Christmas, I'm going to be more famous than Santa Claus. So that rings a bell who we're talking about.
Okay.
And this president, in my book's collusion with Putin, president of Russia, there is the plotters bring this idea that there is a nuclear weapon missing from the Russian arsenal, and it's on the way here. And because President Weaver is in collusion supposedly with Putin, he's going to let it go and make whatever political advantage. And of course, that would be impeachable. But I'll give you another spoiler.
Okay.
The only spoiler is all my books have happy endings. I'm a sap for love stories and happy endings. So it all turns out in the end, promise.
Okay, thank you. Well, I can't wait to read it, and thank you for bringing that for us today. So in your books, there's a line, truth, justice, and the American way. Does that carry through in all the books?
Pretty much. When I was a cryptographer as a young kid, 18 years old, and we built, in the Air Force, built the largest crypto center in what had been an old underground Nazi bunker. And
really?
Yeah, it was cool. I thought I was just Mr. Cool. Drove a little.
Well, you were.
Well, all these guys, there's electronic stuff, all the tech reps were there, and of course tech reps don't carry pistols and shoulder holsters, so it turns out they're either CIA or National Security Agency. And mostly they're GS-13s, which doesn't make a lot of money.
But that was you? You weren't making a lot of money?
No, I was Air Force. I was making a lot less than that. I was a grunt. But these guys, and I know people in the CIA now, and none of them do it for money. They do it for, and what is called Superman's motto. And during World War II, Superman, in the movies, was carrying an American flag, and his motto was truth, justice, and the American way. Okay. And that is really what these guys and gals who put their lives on the line, they're called no official cover. They're out there doing things, and they get killed on the line of duty. They get a medal, but nobody, not in their family, sees it. So you go on the CIA headquarters in Langley, you see on the wall in the front entry, there's I think 42 or 50 stars on no names. That's the fallen, the guy. God. Now, they're not doing that for money. No. They do it for truth, justice, and the American way.
I don't think any of our service people do.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, but having said that, is that why you became an author? Because you weren't making any money?
I became an author, honest to goodness, because in the 4th grade, and I remember Miss Violet Nelson, the teacher, she was reading us from Laura Ingalls Wilder's books.
Oh, love those.
And at the very end of that year, and I remember this, 4th grade, that's a long time ago, she said the most astounding thing anybody's ever said to me, other than I do. She said, you know, a lady writes these books and she gets paid for it.
Oh my God.
And I was born and raised in a steel plant, iron ore town, and my fate was going to be someday I'd become a foreman, because I was bright. And I said, no, you know, writing, that's my gig. And then my mother, I think it was like 6th or 7th grade, she had Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I picked it up and read it, and I was enthralled. So Hemingway was my god forever, forever. So that's the road to authordom.
And you're here in Sarasota. You live locally.
Yeah.
Why here and not New York or some other?
I have a lot of writers. You would think novelists. would live in New York City, the Big Apple. And it's not true. They live all over the place. And somebody has asked me this question before, why Sarasota? Because you don't have to shovel snow. And
Exactly.
I mean, this is, other than Red Tide, this is just a fabulous place. Nice people, accomplished people, good arts, great museums, good schools, Ringling and New College and stuff like that.
Did you know I work for Ringling?
No, I didn't know
there
that.
you go.
Well, fantastic.
Well, thank you. What a nice
I'm a
compliment.
member there. I go. Yeah. Ringling the school or the
School.
Yeah, I've spoken there too to young film writers.
Right, that's
They're
awesome.
very bright kids there.
They are. So back to you. So you love Sarasota, no snow, but when you were in the Air Force in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just dated me.
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But that's the truth. I'm thinking of 75 and you wrote and you were, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, were you in the CIA?
That's that's a question that always comes up. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Right?
Well,
That
okay.
line. No, I never was with the CIA. Although I worked with these guys in Germany, and we moved to Sarasota. A little factoid: the one place in the world where there are more retired intelligence people are Sarasota and Tampa.
And that's why you're here.
Yeah, and Dick Scott,
Does that
Scotty,
just mean
had
that you're in
become
the
a sort of
CIA?
pseudo-father, and he had been director of communications. So I got all sorts of, not secret stuff, but all sorts of skinny stuff from him.
Well, yes, and who else? I mean, that's what I'm saying. You live among your peeps,
And there are a lot of
right?
writers here. Steve King lives on Casey Key, and so does my character live on Casey Key, coincidentally.
All right. Well, we're going to have you back because there's so much more to talk about in all of your books. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
It was a great pleasure meeting you.
This weekend is just the beginning. We have a few events for you to keep an eye out for, so we'll tell you about them when we come back.